Hello, I hope you're doing well. In this video, I'd like to talk to you about the basics of Mathematica. How to enter in an expression, how to enter in text, how to evaluate an expression. So the first thing you need to do is open up Mathematica. It is called Wolfram Mathematica. So if you're searching for it in the Start menu, scroll down to Wolfram and then open up Mathematica. When you open up Mathematica, you'll get a screen that looks similar to this over here. What you should do is just hit New Document. Once you hit New Document, a window should open that says Untitled 1 at the top. For the purposes of this video, I need to increase the zoom to about 200% so you can see what I'm typing. You can set the zoom to what you want. The zoom is on the bottom right corner here. So how do I start typing? Well, if you notice that my cursor is now horizontal and there's a little blinking line here. So if I start typing, say 2 plus 2, it will automatically go into input mode, code mode. Now, how do I evaluate this? Well, if I just hit a enter, it's going to go to the next line. So that doesn't do the job. If I hold down Shift Enter, it will evaluate this. Now, one thing you should notice is that there's an in one and an out one. So if I do another calculation, say 3 plus 5, and then do a Shift Enter again, I will have an in 2 and an out 2. You could do multiple calculations at one time. 2 plus 6, just an enter, not a shift enter. 9 plus 3. Now I'll do a shift enter. You will see that I have an in 3, but I have an out 3 and an out 4. At this point, I want you to notice two things. One, when I am in a cell, and it's actually very hard to see what the cell is, and I'll help you with that in a moment. I will change something called a style sheet so it's easier to see what's going on here. It will give some contrast to the screen. So what I want to focus on right now is look at my cursor right now next to the 12. It's vertical. When I move down below it, it's now horizontal. Vertical, horizontal. Now, if I have a horizontal, I'm between out 2 and in 3. If I have a horizontal cursor and I left click, you will see a blinking line there again. I could type things in here, 5 plus 8, and if I hit Shift Enter, you're going to see an in 5 and an out 5. Your numbers might be a little bit different than mine. But the point here is that this was the 5th entry that I had in my document. It is not in visual order. It's in chronological order. So I mentioned on how to make things look a little bit nicer so you can see what's going on. Well, format. I use this all the time in my documents. I'm going to go down to Style Sheet. And there are lots and lots of different styles here. One, I can reverse the color. And it changes the colors. Format. Style Sheet. I'm going to pick Report, Standard Report. For me, this is a little bit nicer to grasp. Input cells do not have a shaded background. Output cells do have a shaded background. And this is for a code. So if I was actually writing this, I would have a title up at the top here. So take a look at my cursor again. Vertical means I'm going to go into that box. Horizontal, I'm going to start a new box. So let me put a title here. I'm going to say, here is a title. Now, this doesn't look like a title. What I can do is go up to Format. If I go to the Style command, go over to Title, it sets this as a title for my document. If I go to Format and I look at Style, there's lots of different styles I can put for a particular cell. So let me put in a subtitle in here. So I'm going to click under here. Vertical means I'm going to go back into this cell, but now I'm going to get horizontal, and I'm going to pick a subtitle here. So I'm going to type in subtitle, and I could do this in one of two ways. Style, hit subtitle, or there's a keyboard shortcut right next to it. I'm going to just click subtitle. So that's going to click a subtitle for me. There are lots and lots of different ways to organize, to put in headers, titles, sections into your document. I suggest you experiment with some of them. And these look different if I change the overall theme or the style sheet. If I go to book and go to textbook, this is going to look very different. Personally, I like my style sheet to be report, standard report. You'll see many of my Mathematica files have this. Suppose I want to change this subtitle to something else, to another type of style. In this case, I'm going to go to Style, and I'm going to select Section. Now, if I click Section, something really nice happens. There's a little arrow here, and I can hide different things in here. So I'm going to hide it, and I'm going to put another subtitle in here. I'm going to call it Subtitle 2. Now, initially it's set up as an input box. I'm going to change this to a section again. Now, if I do that and I collapse this first thing, these aren't really subtitles anymore. So let me go in here and type in the word section, and I'll call this section 1, and I'll call this one section 2. So if I break my document down into sections, I can expand and collapse them. That makes it very easy to organize. So a lot of times I will say problem 1 and problem 2. And if I type an input box over here, say 9 plus 8, it will be put into section 2. So if I collapse section 2, it is now collapsed. Please experiment with these styles.